Ever wonder how idols and celebrities in Korea get their slim waistlines, slender legs, and delicate shoulders and arms? Don't even get me started on their even and toned skin. Are they born with it? How do they get these perfect body proportions? Well, it could be endless hours of dance practice and exercise. I'm sure they do a lot of that, but something tells me that's not all. Because as we know now, Korea is living in 2050 when it comes to innovation and technology, especially for the face and body treatments. And they can give you instant effects. So on the next stop on our beauty adventure to Seoul, I'm gonna take you along with me to a clinic called LeShine, and I'm gonna show you 3 body treatments that they do to get the ultimate body. So we're in one of their little VIP lounge areas. I still don't know what we're doing, but this is like a full-on body consultation.
Babe, what if they're like, you're perfect?
Just the way you are. And then they make no money. This was my doctor and he was honestly fab. I loved him because he nerded out so much with me over skin and body health. So stay tuned at the very end of this video because he also shared some skin tips that have truly changed my life, and they're so simple. But first we're gonna focus on the body. First thing I saw was this booklet that had "New Year, New Face." Very comforting. So we first started obviously asking me about what my potential concerns were about my skin and my body. And for my body, I mentioned that posture is a real concern because I get tense shoulders and lower back pain, especially as I get older. And because those were the main body things I pointed out, I realized he was a little bit surprised that I didn't mention anything about not being satisfied with my weight or my hips or my arms and things like that. Because a lot of patients, I learned, actually come to these body clinics to get things like fat dissolving done. So even my friend who was translating for me was kind of in between explaining to me, oh, this is like a cultural thing.
I totally hear you, because in America, they're comfortable with their bodies, but in Korea, that's also another thing, that they want to have small waist and then very thin arm and then the thigh. So that's why it's a little bit different, the demands are.
Yeah.
So he might have been very surprised that you're very happy with
보통
who you are.
복부를
So
많이
here, that's why many people come and say here, some arms or thigh.
Yeah. He said what he could offer is actually a really popular treatment package that they do here, and it consists of 3 different treatments. The first is endomology, second is fasciella, and the third is the fat dissolving injection. The most interesting thing is that he said it was equivalent to getting 3 hours of physical exercise, but it's done with this machine in about 30 to 40 minutes. So I was like, sign me up. The second is called fasciella, where you pick a problem area on your body. They can actually target visceral fat. It's also known as toxic fat. So anyway, I was just like, okay, let's just do my stomach. My little jobs here. And we headed on over to the very calming and zen room. To start the endomology process, you have to change into this Spider-Man looking white suit. They told me to change into these panties and then put this big body stocking on top, because some sort of energy is going to be going through my entire body. So then you get onto the super comfy and warm bed. Lying face down, she preps the machine and away we go. So this is an all over body treatment. She starts from my back using this device that's 2 rollers that's also gently rolling but sucking the skin in between, stimulating lymphatic drainage and helping to circulate the blood flow. But it's also removing toxins within our lymphs that could cause things like swelling in certain areas of our body, as well as inflammation. The lymphatic system is one of the most important systems, and it's made up of a network of tissues, organs, and vessels that help the body fight things like infection. It maintains fluid balance as well as absorbing excess fat. So we really want to keep that circulating. So endomology is really popular to also help with reducing cellulite, because through the process it firms the skin, and this is achieved because as it rolls and sucks on the skin, it helps those under layers to break up clumps of fat cells. And this is why it's a whole body treatment as well, not just for cellulite, but helping everything. So thighs, abdomen, arms, butts, everything is included. And something interesting she said was that if it's painful, the lymphs can actually hide and like gravitate towards a different area as she's working on it. And so that will essentially make this whole process ineffective. So the pressure needs to be just right. So you just need to notify them if it is overly painful or you don't feel it enough. And then starting on the bottom half of my legs. So the outer thighs, the inner thighs, the buttocks, and even the calves. Then the same to the other side, so it's essentially forming a circuit all around the body and getting the blood and the lymph to circulate all throughout. So another benefit of this is that earlier the doctor was saying as we age, our muscles naturally get weaker and start to atrophy. And so the best thing that we can do is to incorporate slight movement and exercise to maintain our muscle health. And so endomology is actually helping with that. And this is also why athletes like Kim Yuna, who's the ice skater, as well as even G-Dragon, they get this treatment every other day. So she finished this portion of the treatment by giving me some simple stretches, and oh my god guys, I am not nimble anymore. I can tell you that because it was like creaking. Then some final blood flow massages on the neck and the scalp, since this is also where our lymph nodes are and also where important acupoints are. Wow, that was the most blood circulating exercise, literally from head to toe, head to toe. Okay, so I just changed into the next attire, but I feel very bad for the lady because I didn't shave my armpits for a long time. And I press the button thing and she will come.
Ma'am, this is my dream. This is everything I want. Too bad I wasn't born an influencer.
But you are by association. So with the Fischella body treatment, there's external but also internal benefits, and it's actually a little bit like face mapping for the body. The lady who does it for you can actually tell how you've been sleeping, how your digestive system is, how your stress levels are, whether you've had surgery in certain areas, all by just doing the treatment on you. It's quite different from endomology because it uses a different set of tools. She uses 2 different types, and these tools utilize radio frequency technology to actually heat the deeper layers of our skin and to open up our lymphatic channels. And once again, that lymphatic system is kind of like the garbage collector of our body. It's helping to move waste and toxins all throughout and kind of release them. And that's why you'll actually start to sweat profusely if you get multiple treatments of this done. And she first starts by using her hands to press down and glide from the abdomen to the lower stomach with mild pressure. She then takes this first tool, which will slowly turn from cold to hot, and she firmly rubs this all over the stomach in linear as well as circular motions. Oh my gosh, guys. And then like literally out of nowhere, my middle upper stomach felt like it was on fire. It was like, oh my god, I couldn't take it anymore, so I had to tell her to kind of stop in that area. It's a little bit hot.
Hot? A little bit? 뜨겁죠? 약간 이렇게 건조하신 분들이 뜨거울 수 있으세요.
But the peculiar thing was that she wasn't doing anything differently with the tool to that area. She was just doing the same thing all over, but it was only that section that was burning up.
Deep breath.
So I asked her what that meant, and she said depending on what imbalances each person has, a different area can flare up, and that will signal a more intense reaction. And she said it's because internally that area is colder than the other parts of the body, which is why you'll feel more heat. So interesting, because in traditional Chinese medicine, it's all about balancing hot and cold. Things we eat, the things we drink, all of that actually has to interact with our body when it goes in. And so the stomach is actually the core of your energy. It's called qi. So clearly I am not in harmony in some way. And so I asked her, what does this reflect, or what can you tell about me? And so she asked me about how my digestion and my stress was, because the upper middle section of the stomach, she says, often indicates one of the two is, not right. And it also gets quite spiritual because she says, if you're a person who tends to think a lot and hold a lot of things inside, that stress and energy is actually stored in this area of the fascia and the cells and the organs within here. And I was like, okay, how did she just read everything? Anyway, this is a goal of mine. We are changing this. And hopefully if I go back next time, we're not gonna have the same burning pain there. For different people, it can show up as different things like bloatedness or tightness, and just like that area is stagnant, it's not moving. And so when she's rubbing my stomach with the tool, she's really trying to loosen it, to warm it, and to help rebalance it. So anyway, she moved on to the second tool, which is like this big metal gua sha, kind of intimidating, but at the time I had no idea what was going on. I just thought she was using the same tool actually. So she started by firmly gliding this over the stomach towards the center area and using different edges of the tool for different sections. So it was basically just like a really big facial gua sha, but for the stomach, which I've never even seen. And this was also connected to the machine, so it was also utilizing that radio frequency technology. But anyway, this tool can also help with maintaining and dissolving the visceral fat around your stomach organs. No matter what age, weight, or body shape you have, you just don't want a buildup of this visceral fat because it can lead to things like heart disease, diabetes, cancer. And so you really want to make sure, you're eating right, you're sleeping right, you're doing the lifestyle things so that this doesn't happen. She said if you do fasciella, you want to basically fast after the treatment for about 2 hours. So don't eat anything and just hydrate and drink a lot of water afterwards, because you're like sweating while they're doing this. It's like profusely coming out from your armpits and you're just sweating. Now, the next treatment would be the fat injections. So although I didn't get it, I'm still gonna tell you guys a little bit about it. It is a popular treatment and it's often called lipolysis, where lipo means fat and lysis means the breakdown of, so the breakdown of fat. But at LeShine Clinic, their formula is a steroid-free injection that's targeted in one area that you specify, and what it does is dissolve the fat around that area, and then your body kind of like dissolves it away. And you do have to go through multiple treatments to get the desired effect over time. Obviously, it depends on what you're beginning with and what your end goal is, but this is definitely what the idols do get. You know that they do it because of these little bruise marks that are left behind on the area that it's done on. Because in our previous podcast that Ro and I did, we talked about this. At the time that we were filming that podcast, I thought that this was like a hush-hush thing that was only available to celebrities. But guys, it was so common there that I didn't even realize that it was being offered to me. It was that like in your face. The reason why I didn't choose to do it is because I just don't have like a want to dissolve my fat. I just think if I wanted to change something, I'll do it naturally. Some of my friends have done it and they were like, yeah, I don't know why I did it. I was just kind of like swept up within the whole culture when they were living there. And I was like, yeah, I understand that now. And they were also saying, like, because it's quite a big needle, if you have more fat in the area, it's less painful. But the skinnier you are, the more painful it is. So I don't know if that helps you, but just sharing what I learned. So now, wouldn't be Beauty Within if I didn't share my thoughts, my experience, and how I would rate each one. The cost of endomology is 500,000 Korean won per session. And this is something that you can get multiple times a week, or you can go once a month. But they do say that, the more you do it, the tighter, the firmer your body will be. Fasciella is also 500,000 Korean won, and also something that you can get repeatedly on a weekly basis. And for this one, they specifically do like you to go multiple times because you learn more about the inner body. And then the LeFit body injections in one area is 390,000 Korean won. This is also something that you have to get multiple sessions. Would I recommend? For these treatments that I got done, 100%. I thoroughly enjoyed the entomology. Even though it said it was a strenuous exercise, I didn't feel like I was in any pain. The pressure was really comfortable actually, and all you're doing is lying there. Like, I love that. I don't condone total laziness. I still feel like we should go and exercise because nothing beats real exercise for our body. But doing these in between, if you have the means for it, if you're there, if you want to try it, I definitely recommend. And I could really feel light afterwards because it's like everything is kind of circulating. For Shella, would I recommend? 100% as well. I just regret not asking more questions about your health, you know, what they can tell as they're doing it. Because for example, Cassandra was also doing it on her stomach, and the lady could tell her stomach was rock hard. So she had like bloating issues, indigestion, and so what they were talking about with her were things like lifestyle habits, like sleep, like eating. For mine was actually okay. Apart from, I didn't have bloating or anything, but it was just the pain of that heat in the middle, which was signified by stress. And so, you know, I'm working on that in different ways. And that's also why I meditate a lot. You know, it helps to work through mental blockages. For the injections, like I would say, like, no, I don't recommend it because I didn't get it. But also my friends also said they regretted getting it. Like, let me just tell you, it's not that I'm not insecure about my body. Body shape and body perception, I feel like, is something that a lot of us struggle with, especially growing up, comparing ourselves to other body shapes, thinking that we're not normal, but actually all body shapes are normal. I think it's more about how do we measure our health? Because you can be wide, you can be round, you can be curvy, and you can still be healthy. And so you can also be skinny, which doesn't indicate that you're healthy either. And so I think it's more about concentrating on how we can be internally and externally healthy rather than just kind of like focus on the aesthetics of it. Because yes, in the long term, what we look like is not going to keep us alive. Our health is going to keep us alive. Second thing that I would consider is that it's like the mindset shift of kind of these body treatments. It's very similar to facial treatments, right? It's like once you get it and you see results, you'll probably want to do it again, and it will kind of start off a cycle. The only difference for me that I'm down for more of these treatments versus our previous video is that this is linked to a lot of insights for health. I love to learn about what habits are working in my life and which ones are not, and slowly, you know, trying new things to adopt changes so that I'm healthier. So for this, I learned about muscle. Like I'm gonna start, you know, getting my tiny little 2-pound weights and just doing like 10 reps every day, because what the doctor said was that it's more important to focus on consistency rather than these one-stop treatments. And that was coming from him. Last point before I share the skincare tips that he shared with me is what you can do at home. What I learned from the clinician as well as the doctor was that it's really important as we age to stretch every day, because I used to be pretty flexible. Like I did all the types of dances that you could think of, and I was pretty nimble. And I kind of took that for granted because now it's like if I bend down, oh my God, I'll like snap a tendon. So the legs, you know, bend over, do some like cat crawls, and basically things like yoga and Pilates really help with that. Muscle building is also important as we age. We don't want to be decrepit, right? So how we don't get to a decrepit stage is if we do these things as early as we can. Now, he did share some pretty interesting facial tips because I asked him, what should we do for our skincare and our routine as we age? Because they also offer facial services. 3 tips he said stuck out to me the most. First, don't use a mist in the summer as a top up throughout the day, because this actually dehydrates your skin even more. And not just that, it draws from the deeper layers of your skin and evaporates. So be careful of, you know, spritz toners and using it just on the top, which led on to the second tip. He said for moisturizing as we age, it's even more imperative that we moisturize, not just with a good consistency, but how often we actually moisturize throughout the day. So he was like, you actually should be moisturizing throughout the day every 2-hour interval. And I was like, what? Like sunscreen? And he was like, yes, what you can do is reapply your sunscreen and then 2 hours later apply moisturizer and then sunscreen. So basically he was saying you moisturize throughout the day. And I was like, oh my gosh. Because as I hit around 30s, my skin was so dehydrated and dry no matter how perfect I felt like my skincare routine was. And I've been doing that and it has been working wonders. My skin is so glowy. The annoying thing is that like I just kind of have to like use some toner pads to kind of start again and then moisturize, but it truly has changed the texture of my skin. And then the third tip that really has made the most difference ever since I heard him was he said when you cleanse, you want to really emulsify it. You don't want to apply product straight onto your face and then make it kind of foam. You want to really foam it up. It's already like spread evenly all throughout. And this is what's going to help with dryness or irritation. And this made me, when I was in Japan, I got those little emulsifying sponges and I've been using that and I've been really like making sure that it's a foam before it hits my face. And it's just like these little tips that really have made the most difference without even changing much. It's just the application technique. So the moral of this whole video is consistency is best, and we have to focus not only on treatments, but also our inner health and everyday lifestyle habits. So if you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. We have so much more coming up. We have the scalp and hair loss doctor. We have a color analysis that really humbled me. And coming up next, we have the dental lamination. Please subscribe to our channel if this is something that you enjoy learning about. Hope to have you guys here on the next video, and I'll see you guys really soon.